Welcome to another episode of JavaScript tutorial series. In this video, we're going to learn constructor functions. So what exactly is a constructor function? We know how to write a function. Just use a function keyword and then function name, my func, and then you have the function body. But what exactly is a constructor function? Well, actually there's no difference. If I write a constructor function, for example, user, by convention, we use uppercase character for the first letter of the constructor functions. That is not mandatory, but it is the convention. But what's the difference? Well, actually, the function becomes a constructor function when you call the function with a new keyword. Let me explain. Like, for example, we have this myfunc, right? How can we call the function? We can write myfunc, and this is how we call it. Now, if I use a new keyword like this, new user, then it becomes a constructor function. So normally we use like this. We try to create a variable or constant like const user equals to new user. This is how we write a constructor function. This is how we create a user object from this constructor function. So why is it called a constructor function? Because it is constructing one object, right? So here we are constructing one user object using this constructor function. So the advantage of using a constructor function is that you can create multiple instances of that function. This acts as a class in other languages. Or I can write like const user1 equals to new user. So what is the fundamental difference between normal function and constructor function? There is no difference. The only thing is that when you use this new keyword, then JavaScript creates one new object, okay? And that object is used as the context of the function. In my previous video, if you go to the last episode, we discussed about context in JavaScript. Context means how we use the this keyword in JavaScript. So for this function, this is a constructor function. Let me remove the other functions. It's not required now. All right. So we have this user that is the constructor function. Inside this user, if you access this keyword will point to the new object that is created. So whenever we are calling this constructor function with the new keyword, a new object is created, and that object becomes this keyword inside the function. So we can add something like this dot name equals to some name. Okay, so what happens then? If you console.log user.name, and if I execute this, I'm executing with node.js, node main.js. You can see it is returning this. Wow. You can also use some arguments in the function, like I can add name over here, and I can write this.name equals to name. So in that case, while creating the user, you have to provide the name like A. Then I can create another user, user1, and the name will be B. Now if I console log it, first user is user dot name, and second user is user1 dot name. Now if I execute this, you can see first user is A and second user is B. One more thing, this constructor function is added as a constructor property of this object that you create. So if I check user dot constructor, then that will return the user function. Okay, executing this, you can see this is the function and this is the user function that we have here. We'll learn more about this when we learn about prototypes and the inheritance and all those things. So a quick recap what we learned today. We have learned about the constructor function, and normally we use capital letter for the first letter of the constructor function name. This is a convention, and if you see in your code base, if you see any function name that starts with a capital letter, you will know that this is a constructor function. And constructor function means we're calling the function with the new keyword. And what happens when you call the function with new keyword? It creates one new object, and that object becomes the context of this function. So this keyword inside the function points to the new object that we create. So for example, for the first example, this user object becomes this keyword of this function. So that's it for today's video. I hope you learned something. If you liked it, please hit like, and if you have any questions, please ask me in the comment section. I will try to answer them. And if you're liking this series, you can also subscribe to my channel. That is going to help me a lot. Thank you so much for watching. We will meet in the next episode.